All right, so welcome, 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 right, to the Shadow Femme Masterclass. I am so excited to be sharing this with you. Right, I had this download for this beautiful program, right, for Primal Self to kind of come through. And you know what? I went and I launched it and I'm all like, no, people need to know what the Shadow Femme is. People are still so scared of this energy. It's still such a misconstrued, modality and teaching that, we believe in. We've been taught to fear the darkness. We have been taught that bad things lurk there. So don't even bother going and looking in the shadows, because you're only going to find things that are going to harm you, that are going to scare you, that just aren't good for you. And it's complete bullshit. It's all conditioning. It's all projecting. It's all a form of divine feminine suppression that comes from that patriarchal system. Okay. And I'm not here. I'm not here for that. I am here for the new paradigm. I am here for the fully embodied femme, the light, the shadow, and everything in between. Okay. I have been working with the dark goddess energy in hindsight for a very long time, right? Like Delia, you were just saying, right? It's just like new, and then you research and you're like, right? Like it makes so much more sense, right? So I have been really in depth in my awareness and in my intention, right? Working with like the dark goddess energy in understanding the shadow aspects of the human psyche as a whole for the last like 4 to 5 years. Even deeper into the feminine embodiment of the shadow work for the last couple of years, okay? And so I just want to bring this conversation to the table. I just want to create an invitation for you to break free of the shackles and the projections and the limiting beliefs around working with the dark feminine energy. So that is what we are going to hold space for today. And that's what we're going to lead into tomorrow as well. So first and foremost, welcome. I am Melanie Colton. In case you have never met me, I invite you, and I am glad that you are here in my world. I am a sacred womb doula and a catalyst for divine feminine embodiment. I very much like to guide the next level woman back into the embodiment of her full divine self, learning to harness and nurture that inner flame to break free of those patriarchal conditionings, the suppression and oppression of divine feminine through the healing and understanding of our own wounding. The sisterhood wound, the motherhood wound, the witch wound, as well as healing the relationship we have with our masculine structures as well, so we can be led back to a place of wholeness, of union within ourselves, okay? So let us begin. Again, I'm like, I really first connected, again, in hindsight, with working with the dark feminine energy when my sisterhood wounds, my wounding of my own divine feminine energy came, front and center about 10 years ago when I found out that my husband was having an affair. It's not the first time that I had, been cheated on in my relationships. I had an ex-boyfriend who cheated on me in a way that I was the other woman without knowing I was the other woman. And a girlfriend of mine, a very good friend of mine at the time, knew of his cheating ways, but didn't tell me about it because I had won. I was the woman that got chosen at the end of the day. And when I found out about my husband's affair, right, it really brought back up a lot of that sisterhood wounding, a lot of feeling uncomfortable in trusting other women. And it really surprised me, because I didn't find anger when I found out. I found peace. I found comfort. I found like an invitation to tap back into myself, to truly remember who I was. I was immediately released of the responsibility of taking care of other people, of putting other people's feelings and dreams and desires before my own. And this is really what initiated my whole spiritual awakening and coming into, a leadership role of supporting space for other women. And in order to safely, right, hold space for other women in their wounding, I had to lead myself and hold space for myself to also heal. Okay. I didn't need to be healed. I do not believe in being healed in order to hold space for other people, but I knew deep down that my gifts and my medicines were here to help other women, specifically through the initiation back into their shadow, into understanding, the psyche of the shadow aspect of the human consciousness, through the embodiment and nurturing and reawakening of the divine feminine energy, right? I am a firm believer that it is through the embodiment and the awakening of the divine feminine that we are going to be able to heal the systematic structures that are currently in place and come back into that balanced, healed, sacred energy of both the masculine and the feminine forms. Okay. So I started to open up myself to spirit, to allow spirit to really guide me, to be open to messages, to be open to wisdom, to be open to clarity, but also to be open to the shit that was holding me back, to the shit that wasn't in alignment to the truth that I was here to embody and the person I am here to become in this lifetime. And it's uncomfortable, right? Doing shadow work and working with the darker aspects of our psyche is not for the weak woman, okay? It's not for the weak person as a whole. It is uncomfortable work. Being called out and being able to call out your own bullshit, right, is a very daunting task, but also a very expansive and freeing pathway in and of itself. Through working, with women doing this work for the last few years, I have noticed that there is still such a resistance and still so much judgment, both into ourselves and from, our communities and our peers, when it comes to talking about the shadow aspects of ourselves. They're very much seen as something bad, as something that we should hide, as something that, we should be embarrassed about. The truth is, it's in the shadows. It's through understanding our shadows, it's through healing in our shadows that we unlock the keys to the mastery of the women that we are here to become in this lifetime. We have been taught that it's something to be fearful from. It's something that we've been taught that we should stay away from, because the men in charge, that patriarchal system, knew and knows that a woman that is fully connected to herself in all facets of herself is a woman to be feared. It is not the shadow to be feared. It is the women that are feared by weak-minded men who lead in the patriarchal system. So what is the shadow femme? What is it really, right? Like, what is it really? Because it is not what we have been taught. It is not what we have been made to believe. Dark goddess energy is about equality. It is about truth. It is about offering compassion and understanding. It's really not even about you. It's the gift of being able to see somebody else's shadow and to meet them with that level of compassion, to be able to hold space, to realize that their actions have nothing to do with us. So therefore, we are not shackled, we are not tied, we are not prisoners and victims to other people's wounding, even to our own wounding. Because we know and we understand that the trials and tribulations that make us human are a part of our sacred journey. They are a requirement for us to unlock the gifts, the medicines, the knowledge, the wisdom, the ancient teachings that we carry within our energetic bodies and within our DNA. We get to look back at these moments that we thought were going to break us and be all like, I am so fucking glad that happened. Because without that moment in time, without that teaching, without that lesson, I wouldn't be here today. Not, I can't believe I did that. I'm such a stupid person. No, because I went through that and made it out the other side, I became stronger. I became more confident. I became more consciously aware. I learned to trust myself more. I learned to trust my intuition more. I gained better perspective and understanding of who I am and why I am here. It is an initiation back into our power, back into our potency. It's just a portal. It is just a gateway. It is just an activation. It is a beautiful gift for ourselves and for those around us. The dark feminine is not about revenge. It is not about control. It is not about belittlement. When we speak of the rage, the sacred rage that we carry within our wombs, within our bodies as women, when we talk about setting things ablaze, we're not talking about it in the way of projection, of burning all of this shit down, of deflection and harming other people. It's not about creating another level of hierarchy because we have more consciousness and more self-awareness that we are better than another person, that we know more than another person. This fire, this rage is our energetic fuel. It is our motivation that we are here to tap into, to create the momentum for us to share and tap into the sacredness of our medicine and our gifts and our truths that are going to help us as a collective level, as well as on a personal level, to get to that next paradigm, to create that essence of heaven on earth, to be energetically shed of the human constructs of denser vibrations, suppression, oppression, right? Disconnection, disassociation, fear, lack, scarcity. It is time. It is time. As the divine feminine rises as a whole, right? It's not about us continuing the constructs that feminine is soft and it's light and it's about love and it's about making things happy. Yes, yes, those are all beautiful aspects of the feminine, but they are not the only aspects of the feminine. They're still intertwined with a level of safety, of keeping the peace, of people pleasing, of making other people comfortable. But what's going to happen to that sacred rage that is brewing in every single woman? As the wounding of our sisterhoods, the wounding of our mothers, the wounding of the witch becomes more prevalent, more strong, more alive and awakened within us, what do we do with that energy? If we leave it untapped into, if we continue to hide and, suffocate and oppress these parts of us, our ego is going to feed into that. And when our ego is in charge of that energy, that's where we continue to project the cycle of wounding. It's where that sacred rage gets transmuted into denser energy, wounded, unhealed energy. And this is where we will find ourselves short-tempered, frustrated, irritated. We will be quick to snap. We will feel unsafe within ourselves. We will feel unsafe around our sisters. This is where the dark can consume us and pull us into a very deep hole. We're here to raise and grow and elevate beyond this dark hole. But that happens from us becoming aware of it, from intentionally holding space for it, for intentionally learning to understand it. Okay. So I want to thank you for joining me, right, through this journey of the, shadow femme. And our time together over the next 2 days is really an opportunity for you to meet with and embrace your shadow feminine. Okay. The shadow feminine represents the aspects of ourselves. We really don't like these places where we think that we're not good enough, right? Where we are missing something, where we are less than, where we are shameful, right? So we push these thoughts away. We suppress them. We hide them in hopes that nobody else sees those parts of us either, right? But the truth is, right, the shadow feminine is super, super persistent. You cannot run away from her, right? You cannot run away from her. And, and actually, the more that you try and tame her, the more that you try and run away from her, the much more amplified that energy is going to become. That much more intense that energy is going to become. Have you ever been in a cycle of avoidance where you know that there is something deep within you, something uncomfortable that you need to acknowledge, that you need to face? So you do a little bit of the surface work, a little bit of that superficial work and be like, okay, I'm done. I am done. I've released it. I am free from it. And then you move on. And then a week later, it's fucking back in your face. And you're like, I don't understand. I released this already. I've already let it go. I've already moved above and beyond this. And it's just you tried to bypass it. Let's be honest. You did the minimal amount of work to make yourself comfortable in that moment, but you really didn't get into the nitty-gritty. You didn't get into the integration. You didn't get into the embodiment of it. Until we are in full embodiment of accepting ourselves as we are, who we are, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between, these cycles of healing, of releasing, of understanding are going to continue to happen. Much like any work, right? It is a process. It is a walk in the sacred spiral. We will come back to these aspects of ourselves time and time and time again to lead ourselves deeper and deeper and deeper into these truths, into these activations, into this wisdom. And it becomes more and more comfortable when we lean into it. Not that it's not going to be a hard slap in the fucking face and, we're not going to have a dark night of the soul every once in a while when this shit comes up, because we will, and we do. But we have a deep understanding and trust that this is happening for us. It is not happening to us. And when we can invite these aspects into ourselves with that understanding, we know it's not always going to be this way. We know it's, we know that it's just simply a bump in the road. It is a point of our journey. It's not everlasting. We will get through the other side. And when we get through that other side, we are going to be completely transformed. We will have upgraded our energy. We will have expanded our consciousness. We will have, created more vastness in our energetic body to hold more of our desires. We have literally gone into the process of transmutation by holding that space sacredly to up-level our energy, to up-level our frequency. And when we come out the other side, vibing even higher than when we went in, a whole new world of what we can call in, what we can manifest, what we align to, opens to us. Pretty fucking exciting. Pretty fucking exciting. Because your life only gets better and better and better and better and better doing this work, having this awareness, knowing this gift. You get to the point of like, my life is pretty fucking awesome. Like, how does it get any better than this? And it does. I promise you, it does. Our shadow femme, when she is unnurtured, when she is ignored, she becomes the crazy maker, the saboteur, the drama queen. Aspects that don't really fucking feel good and don't help to raise our vibration or expand our consciousness. It keeps us stuck. It keeps us stagnant. It keeps us on that hamster wheel of victimhood. The woe is me. But when we meet her, when we converse with her, when we open up to a sacred relationship with her, she doesn't have to create the craziness in our lives to get her attention, right? The beauty of it is she carries a lot of wisdom that she simply wants to share with us. in those places where we feel ugly, those parts of us that we want to resist. She shows us the beauty in it. She unlocks the gift within it. In those places where we feel shameful, she can show us the parts of ourselves that where we are proud, where we are confident, where our power really, really high, like really, really lies, and how we can harness it for the betterment of ourselves and the betterment of humanity. In those places where we feel we lack, that we are less than, she shows us our gifts and what it is that we are bringing to the table, how important we are in this world, how our gifts, how our medicines are meant to feed into the healing of the collective. But in order for us for her to share and show us these aspects of ourselves, we first have to be willing to meet her. And we have to be willing to look at her in her eyes. When we hear about, dark feminism, that's, emerged as like a trend on like social media, like TikTok, right? Over the last year. Much of the conversation really gets focused on how to get men to be obsessed with you, right? How to get your crush, how to get revenge on your ex, right? Superficial. And even icky to an extent, right? This resulting confidence, right? Because I got what I wanted, right? This external validation, right? Prioritizes the attention and that confirmation from external sources, from male attention, and it ignores the truly empowering part of the dark feminism, which is finding and keeping your boundaries, of knowing and honoring your worth, being assertive, being dominant, and feeling confident in your own sensual and sexual energy as a divine goddess. This version, right, of the dark feminism means empowering yourself by feeling, by shifting from a wounded mindset into an empowered mindset. The dark feminist woman becomes magnetic, seductive, powerful, and authentic. You might already see these attributes in the women around you, in the women in your life, and you might also already embody some of these attributes. You might also find them intimidating, scary, inspiring, and even desirable. Because dark feminine energy is a powerful, animating force that is truly on the rise on this planet today. Dark feminine energy is often so misunderstood and confused with the feminine shadow, toxic femininity, and disempowered feminine traits. But this couldn't be further from the truth of what the dark feminine, the shadow femme, really is. She is empowered, untamed, right? Unapologetic, and regenerative of the feminine principle. We see her and we embody her and we welcome her in the archetype of the wild woman. We welcome her in and we connect to her and we tend to her, right? Through the pulse of, an erotic energy. for being confident in who we are, for being so anchored in to who we are with no apologies and no explanation needed. To hold our energy, to be an energy without needing to speak a word. Have you ever gazed up at the moonless sky, right? When the new moon kind of comes in. And it's just like this dark, deep, mysterious, curious, dark energy of a void. And just been in awe of it, mesmerized by it, being magnetically pulled into it. If you have, then you have made contact with the energy of the dark feminine. Right? The dark feminine isn't separate, but integrated, a deeply integrated part of the divine feminine. She's a frequency, a sacred essence that encompasses creation and destruction. We got to tear down the shit that's not aligned to welcome in the new. We have to release ourselves from the shackles of the patriarchal system, from the projection, from our conditioning, in order to become the women that we are here to become. She has been rippling out across every last corner of the earth. And we feel it deep within our bellies as women since ancient times. The energy has been growing. That fire has been growing in each and every single one of us. Everything is spirit. Our breath, the trees, the earth, the darkness. And the dark feminine is also spirit. She is a stream of spiritual energy that weaves its way through our world. Hard to define, but always present. Mystical in nature, but ready to be called upon in real, concrete, tangible ways by those who answer her call, by those who feel her pull. Dark feminine energy manifests in many ways, all around us, all of the time. The dark moon, the deep black soils of Mother Earth, decay and death, regeneration, transformation, chaos, the unconscious, mystery, the knowable, the void, the limitlessness. And like the full spectrum of the divine feminine, dark feminine energy is not over there somewhere, right? She is right here inside every single one of us. We all embody the dark goddess energy, one capacity or another. The true nature of dark feminine energy can be hard to describe because it is intangible. It is, etherical. It is liminal in nature. And also it's wild and it's untamed and it's primal. It refuses to be defined. It refuses to be just one thing, right? How many women have refused to be put in a box? To define your talents or your medicines or your business in one neat little fucking bow. Right? Multi-dimensional beings. The dark feminine is one of those aspects. She's the one going, stop playing small. Stop hiding. You are here for more. And she is the one that is pushing you and pushing you and pushing you and pushing you to fucking own it. She's like that BFF, right? Like she's like that wing woman. Like, you go, girl, you got this, and I got your back. We know she is there. You can feel her. I know you can feel her right now. Those bellies are getting warm. Those pussies are fucking starting to pulsate. We feel her. She is present. You know what I'm talking about. Own it. Acknowledge it. Thank her. Many people think that the dark feminine energy opposes the light feminine energy. The dark goddess versus the goddess. And that's just Western culture. It's just, the patriarchy. It's just what we have been taught to continue to feed into the confusion, to continue the fractioning and fractal energies of our archetypes, of who we are, of our full embodiment. It's what we've been taught to keep us confused, to keep us asleep. And in our, dualistic world, it's easy to see reality in such a polarized way. But the truth is, it's the light and the dark sides of the feminine that make up the entirety, the whole kit and caboodle of the sacred feminine principle. There is no separation. There is no disconnect. There is no disassociation. They are a unified front. Our human perspective often needs things to be compartmentalized because it makes it simpler for us to understand. But it also makes us feel more safe. It makes us feel like we have more control. When we can make understanding of it, we feel like we can control the situation. Right? So to help nurture that part, here, some of the typical qualities associated, right, with the light side of the feminine are like the softness and the nurturing, the healing, the intuition and the seeing, the inward focus and family, understanding, community, collaboration, attraction and receptivity, as well as patience. The dark feminine traits are the sensuality and the pleasure, the devotion, the magic, the mysticism, the erotica, the passion, the rage, our ability to transform and transmute, sexual liberation, the ability to regenerate, authenticity, as well as embracing a metaphorical death and rebirth. So you probably already expressed some dark feminine traits without even knowing it. But it's equally as likely that you are repressing some level of the dark feminine power, as we have all been conditioned to do this. It is not a problem with you. It is a problem with our society. It is a problem with the way that we have been taught and who we have allowed to teach us, who we have allowed. And when I'm saying we, I'm not just saying you and me in this space. I'm talking on a very collective level for years beyond this, but of who we gave our power to, in who we trusted outside of ourselves to know what was best for us, without trusting ourselves and knowing that we know what's best for ourselves. We trusted in the wrong people. We gave our power to people that did not deserve it, that manipulated it, that took advantage of it for their own personal gain. It is not your fault. It is not a you problem. It is a collective issue. And that's why these conversations need to be had, because we need many of voices speaking up against this. We need a shitload of new, enlightened, conscious, sacred leaders to pave the path moving forward. We need the way showers and the healers to hold that sacred space for us to become untwined, untangled, and liberated in a safe, trauma-informed, trauma-conscious space. This is the time where this cycle ends. This is where we say no more and we take that power back. And we do that by trusting ourselves. Ain't nobody know me like I know me. I spend the most time with me. Right? Like I know what triggers me. I know what pisses me off. But I also know what fuels me, what lights me up, what brings me joy. I also know why I am the way that I am. I know my traumas. I know that the impact that they've had on me. And I know I don't want to feed into, this cycle of becoming a statistic, because it's just the way that it's always been. So that's the way that it's always going to be. Bullshit. Bullshit. I know that's not my truth. So it's not going to be my truth. And ain't nobody going to tell me otherwise. Nobody's going to tell me who I can be, how I can be, and how I need to fucking show up anymore. Dark feminine energy is an intricate part of life to heal, to grow, and participate in life in the most authentic way possible. We need to embrace the wholeness of all human experiences. The wholeness of who we are as women and as men. But without recognizing and embracing the dark feminine, right? Humans will only ever experience and express one half of what we're actually fully capable of. And that's at best. The likelihood of being completely healed on, you know, the light side or fully embodied in the light side when we're suppressing and ignoring parts of our shadows is very, very fucking small. I don't know about you, but I didn't come here to like live like 50% of my life, 30% of my life, or 25% of my fucking truth. I didn't. I came here to be 100%. Fuck that. I'm here for like 110%. I'm a Capricorn over fucking achiever, you know, like, let's not lie. I'm here for, I'm here to live my life to the fullest extent, as far as I can stretch it. I want to live. I want to live. I want to know life. I want to feel. I want to experience all of the things that life has to offer. And that's the light and the shadow, the good and the uncomfortable, the dark and the light. Dark feminine energy is such a potent, transformative, regenerative, and mysterious frequency. It's so unknown. And it's unfamiliar, right, to so many people. Yet if we can't access this part of ourselves, we refuse to access part of ourselves, we're making that choice of living half a life at best. This means that we are going to be missing out on experiences, sensations, and realities that are our fucking birthright. Unlocking parts of ourselves, unleashing our magic, and, you know, unleashing and understanding our medicine, our truths, that next level of consciousness and self-awareness. We deny that to ourselves when we deny a relationship with our shadow femme. Without embracing and truly celebrating all aspects, the light and dark aspects of the feminine self, the growth and evolution of humanity will continue to distort and even stagnate. A hard fucking truth, a hard pill to swallow. Do not undermine the power of the ripple effect. You are just one person. But the power that you hold within yourself to make a huge difference, to be a leader, to be a way shower, to be an inspiration to others, giving permission, not in a hierarchy type of way, but in sacred initiation and connection. These harsh words, this harsh reality is so needed at this time. Over many, like, because, you know, somebody's ringing my doorbell. give me 1 second because I'm gonna yell. So give me 1 second. Pause. Okay, sorry about that. Over many generations, right, the traits and the qualities of the dark feminine have been shunned. They've been silenced. They've been suppressed, particularly by Western culture. And it's been going on for many, many centuries. This means that for many men and women, right, dark feminine energy is not only unfamiliar, but it's also extremely frightening. But why would a hierarchy, structure do this? And we know this, very simple. Dark feminine energy is a powerful frequency and a tool. Those with knowledge of powerful tools are hard to control. So what better way to control people than to convince them that a part of their very nature, namely that dark side, is not only worthless, but harmful, dangerous, and even inherently evil. So that's what happened. It began a long time ago when the divine feminine fell. When the matriarchal civilizations were overrun and the empire took over. So for many centuries, the colonial, the patriarchal, and even recently capitalists, structures of the world conditioned us to believe that dark femininity is bad, that expressing any of her qualities would be harmful or shameful, and that women who show a dark side have something wrong with them, making them unattractive, undesirable, crazy, and an embarrassment. How many women have had, a boyfriend or a man in their lives call them crazy for having emotions and being in their emotions? Probably because they asked you to stop it, to knock it off, to quit crying, right? They were trying to get control over you. And when they couldn't get control over you, what did they do? They shunned you and judged you to make you feel less than. So you became uncomfortable with those parts of yourselves. You became uncomfortable with those parts of yourselves because they couldn't control you. Not that you couldn't control yourself, but they couldn't control you. You were out of control. Were you? Were you really out of control? Probably not. Probably not. And even if you were, it's probably because they ignored you, because they shamed you, because they gaslit you over and over and over and over and over again, till you had enough, until your dark femme had to fucking break free like a volcano erupting, because there was no more space for that pressure to be contained. She wasn't erupting to get their attention. She was erupting to get your attention. These people are trying to control you. These people do not have your best interest at heart. Boundaries. Remember your worth. Do not settle for less than. Not, hey, these people feel uncomfortable, so please give them your control. Please have this person mansplain what being a woman, being a proper woman is supposed to look like. How can somebody who's taught to not understand their emotions, to not hold space for their own emotions, be a safe space for you to be in an emotion? They can't. They aren't. They won't be. People can only meet you as deeply as they meet themselves. And there's a whole lot of fucking people that don't acknowledge their humanness. There's a lot of people that do not acknowledge their shadow. There is a lot of people that deny that magic, mysticism, spirit even exists. And your truth of knowing this, of embodying this, of like holding space, scares the fuck out of them. So they are going to project. They are going to instill fear. They are going to tell you untruths. They are going to do everything in their power to suppress your power. But we're more powerful. We've always been more powerful. Okay. We can even look at our childhood. When we're looking at like fairy tales, we're taught to fear the dark, right? Through fairy tales, featuring like the wicked witches, the old haggard women, who kidnap and eat them, in the lonely forests. For centuries, our cultural narrative has worked to, suppress the concepts of the dark and, the negative. We've been told that there is something wrong with the dark, that the darkness needs to be avoided, instead of the life-giving and regenerative power of the dark, where the dark, feminine energy is. Men believe she's evil. Other women are told to reject her. We've been led to believe that the dark feminine represents all the things that we don't want around us. All those things that for so long, humans have collectively been trying to push away, to hide and suppress. Unrestricted sexual energy, sexual expression and fantasies, lust, desire and passion, wildness, untamed, undomestic freedom, liberation, chaos, in the sense of tearing it all down, letting it all go, creating a fresh slate, leaning into our pain, our discomfort, all of the taboos, human emotions, negative emotions, the unknown, the unknowable, the occult, witchcraft. There may be glimmers of the dark feminine expression in those things, but they aren't who she is. By stuffing her into these tiny little negative preconceived boxes, her real essence and spirit have been radically distorted in the collective mind. Distorted into the shadow traits of the wounded feminine. So what is the difference between the dark feminine and the shadow feminine, right? Or not the feminine, the dark feminine and the feminine shadow. So as well as, conflating the darkness with negativity, the dark feminine is conflated by many with the shadow side of the feminine. And we don't want to fall into the same trap that a lot of women do, that a lot of people do, thinking that they are one and the same. So the following qualities, right, characteristics are shadow traits, and they are not expressions of dark femininity. Shadow traits are wounded feminine principles. This is our wounding that comes from our conditioning. It comes from our upbringing. It comes from the projection. It comes from limiting beliefs. It always comes from outside of ourselves that we have taken on as our truth. It's never been our truth. It's not our truth. Codependency, a lack of confidence, low self-worth, being manipulative, drama queen tendencies, the inability to create boundaries, difficulty maintaining female relationships, inability to speak your truth and stand up for yourself. Misunderstanding how the shadow side of the feminine fits into this work, right, is another reason we shun, we suppress, and we vilify the dark feminine energy without really knowing what it is. We are sold the story that she is disempowered dark feminine energy, when all the while, she's an expression of our true feminine nature. But the tide is turning. Dark femininity is rising in our human consciousness. We are here to awaken her, to give her space and taste her medicine. We are here with the invitation to look beyond the distortions, to look beyond the lies, to deprogram our old belief systems around the dark feminine energy and welcome her home, untamed, raw, and primal. I want to lead you through a meditation to meet your dark feminine today. To step past the fear and the resistance, and to meet and to see a really beautiful part of yourself. To access dark feminine energy, is to understand that we must learn to let go. Let go of what we've been taught. Let go of what we feel we know about the dark feminine energy. We need to let go of that need for control. We need to let go of the fear, of the shame, of the misunderstandings. So I'm going to invite you to just get into a comfortable seated position. We're just going to begin by taking a few beautiful breaths. Breathing in and out of the body. Don't force yourself. Just allow for this beautiful breath. Breathing in, breathing as the rise and fall of the breath in your body. And as you breathe, offer an invitation for your shoulders to soften. For your chest to soften and relax. Back in your spine to soften. Your belly is allowed to go soft, releasing any tightness or constriction. Breathing into your sitting bones and really surrendering to them. Allowing them to go heavy, and breathing into your legs, allowing them to soften and relax. Breathing into your feet, releasing any tension in the feet as you exhale. I invite you in your mind's eye to imagine that you are out in nature under a beautiful black velvet night sky. The sky and the stars are twinkling like diamonds above you. Taking a moment to engage your senses. Does the night feel balmy or fresh or crisp? Is the temperature hot or cold? As you breathe in, what are the smells of this place? Sticking out your tongue, what does the air taste like? Moving your feet on the earth, what does the earth feel like under your foot? What are the noises and the sounds? Or is it just pure silence and stillness? Quiet. Taking a moment to allow your eyes to adjust to the darkness. Finding your night vision. Take a look around and engage your knowing, your inner knowing, your intuition. What do you know about this place? Have you been here before? Is it familiar? Or is it all new? I'm going to invite you to take a few steps with me forward towards the entrance of a cave that has just appeared before you. Again, allowing your eyes to adjust so you can see into it in the nightlight. Being aware of whatever sensations are in your body is pure excitement. Holding space for any resistance and fear. Don't get caught up in the story of whatever you're feeling, just bearing witness to what is rising within you. Giving a nod. I see you, I feel you, thank you for showing up. But you do not have to get caught up in whatever you are feeling. You are safe. You are supported and you are divinely protected. Let's take a few steps together into the cave. And gently one foot in front of another, in front of another, until the cave opens into a beautiful cavern. Inside the cavern, on the ground, on the earth, there is a fire. You can hear the crackle of the wood. You can feel the warmth and the heat as you step close to it. Noticing the colors of the embers, reds, golds, and yellows. Maybe there's oranges, blues, and greens. Just take a moment to be here. Breathing it all in. Feeling your feet on the earth or the ground of the cave. Knowing that you are safe. All is well. And we are going to call out. We're going to call out for your shadow feminine, your dark goddess, to come and meet you at the fire. Open your energy to meeting with her today. To invite her to come to join you. To give her a seat at your table. Let her know that she is welcome. And as she makes her entrance, notice how she presents herself to you. Maybe she presents herself in human form. Maybe she's just a ball of energy. Maybe she's an animal. Maybe a fragrance, a sign, a symbol, or words to a song. Whatever way she presents herself is perfect for you. Maybe you can't see her, but you know that she is there. Feel her presence and acknowledge her. Thanking her for coming to the fire. And if you can see her, make eye contact with her. And if you can't, that's totally okay too. This is just the beginning of your relationship. The initial stages. So it is okay to take it slow, to ask for baby steps. Whatever you are ready to receive. I invite you to ask her what she has come to tell you today. And be open to hearing whatever it is she has to say. Trusting your wisdom, your intuition, your truths. I invite you to ask her, what is it that she needs or requires from you? Ask her how you can incorporate her more into your life. What is the wisdom that she wishes to impart on you? What is she here to teach you? And finally, what is your gift? Check in with her and see if there's anything else that she wants to share with you today or show you. Is there any final words that she needs to tell you? I'd like to invite you to embrace her in a hug. Maybe you'd like to offer each other a namaste or just a nod of the head. Prayer or a blessing, whatever feels right. This is your meeting. This is your relationship. So whatever feels right. Just connecting with each other. You don't need to force it or try too hard. Just trust what feels right and allow it to happen now. Taking a moment to notice if you feel any different about her. Does she still feel scary? Do you still want to keep her in the shadows? Maybe you do, and that's okay. Just an initial meeting. Just check in and see how you are feeling. When you are ready, just thanking her for showing up for you today. Knowing that you can return to meet her at any time and nurture and grow this relationship so that she doesn't have to be the crazy maker in your life to get your attention. But for today, this is enough. So thank her. Allow her to go off about her day. And just take a moment to be present with yourself by the fire. Honoring your courage for showing up to meet your dark goddess. And very gently, I invite you to join me as we leave the cave, leaving the fire behind us, leaving your shadow femme behind until we meet her again. Stepping back into the moonlight, taking a few breaths here, allowing your body to integrate all that has happened, all that you have experienced. Bringing your awareness into your head, into your shoulders, to your arms and your chest, your back, your belly, your sitting bones, your legs and your feet. Stretching your awareness out into the room or wherever you are today. And then physically stretching your body, giving it a little shake to ground yourself and allow yourself to be fully present. And when you are ready, gently opening your eyes, reconnecting with your surroundings. Feeling your feet on the ground as you center yourself. I'm going to pause the recording in a moment. But I want to thank you for joining me on this adventure, of initiation and awakening of the shadow femme. I invite you to come back to this meditation over the coming days as you build your relationship with your dark goddess, getting to know each other intimately, getting to know her gifts and her strength, getting to know the beauty that she can bring into your life, and also getting to know the little parts of yourself, when your buttons are pressed. And instead of reacting from an unconscious, wounded state, learning to hold space in an empowered way to work through them. The shadow femme brings so many gifts to enjoy the adventure of life. So I thank you for being here with me today. We will be back again tomorrow for another deep dive of learning how we can, dive deeper into embracing and embodying the dark feminine within ourselves. And we will do a co-creative healing session with the beautiful medicine of the goddess Isis. So I send you off with so much love, so much light, and I will see you then. Bye.